Well, hello, Jeremy McKee's here on Prime Time with Jeremy McKee, and we got a special guest tonight. It's going to tell you about how he became a nurse, also how he also worked in one of the biggest, one of the biggest hospitals here in Roanoke, Virginia. That's where we're at right now, and we'll come back and talk to Bobby McKee, and you might recognize the name, and if it is, it's my brother here in Roanoke. We'll be right back right after this commercial from Cooper's Auto Detailing.
Here at Auto Detailing, we have a variety of packages ranging from a full outside detail to full inside, in and out. We're a complete 100% hand wash only dealer. We do everything from your wheels, windows, and engine bays on all cars, from small cars, SUVs, and trucks. We have multiple packages ranging from $35 to $200 for that brand new car feel. We also have seat cleaning, steam cleaning, and more to take your car to the next level. We make sure every car leaving our location lives up to our 5-star rating. We strive to make every customer happy at Cooper's Auto Detailing.
You'll feel great driving a clean car. Your car will love you for taking care of it. Let our detailing experts restore and protect your car. Your ride will look great for years to come, and you'll be protecting your investment.
All right, we're back, and what you're seeing right now, you're seeing Bobby McKee, and also you're seeing a number there, 864-441-9382. When we get into our program here, if you want to have a question, you can give him a call and ask him a question. Well, Bobby, my question is, how did you determine you wanted to go into nursing? Now, we grew up together, and we all had different goals of doing things, and my goal back when I was probably about 6 years old, being baptized to be a preacher, and we all laughed at that because I cussed like a sailor. And it didn't seem like it worked out for them many years, but now I am. But how did you determine that you wanted to get into that field?
Well, me and my wife both, we ran rescue locally and for Roanoke City. And in doing so, we got to see a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of different situations and everything. So as time went on, we decided, well, we need to do a career change. So we discussed which way we wanted to go, and the outcome was we both went to nursing school. And with that, we got in. She started out in the ICU, and I started out in the emergency room. And it just grew, kept on growing. We learned things, we seen things. We seen things that would bring back I can give you an example, we discussed earlier about my dad. Mm-hmm. He showed all the signs and symptoms of being a severe diabetic, but we seen it. It was in front of our face. We didn't recognize it. But now when I went to nursing school, all that stuff popped up, and I said, there it is. It's in front of my face, and I didn't see it. And maybe if I'd have seen it sooner, it would have prolonged his life. Not saying that it would or would not, but it's very interesting that when you get into that field, you see a lot of things, you observe things, you see other people, and it comes out real good. In fact, the wife's working tonight.
Yes, I wish she could have been here. She could have been on with you. And you're right about seeing, and people think, so how can he see things just by visual? Actually, it was a television program where a newscaster was talking, and a dermatologist was watching and seen something on her neck. Mm-hmm. And he was concerned about, so he contacted her, and come find out it was cancer. and so he got it just in time. So, to me, that was wonderful because with you seeing signs and us seeing, we might look at things normal, but you seeing things by your training, and and I know what you come from there. Now, so you and Susie just decided both of you to go into this field. Now, what brought you to wanting to be in running the paramedic calls, or what got you to that point? Because it's, to me, not just anybody say, oh, I want to go ride an ambulance or something like that, or be a driver or get in that field. What kind of brought you to the medical end?
Well, when I looked at it and I watched and observed, and, my wife started in it first, and then I come along and got involved with it. And, we just kept going that route and doing this, we went from the county and to the city, run more calls, seen more things, and we got thinking we could do more, So when we did that, we decided about doing the nursing school. And, we went to two different schools, but the thing of it is we got in there and we learned a lot of things, and it helped us out not only physically, mentally, and also monetary wise. And we've stuck with it, and no regrets on either side.
What would you tell someone, a young person that wanted to go in this field? What are some advice you can give that person? Because you got a lot of people, and I've talked to a lot of people, says, oh, matter of fact, I talked to this one lady, she says, a young girl, she said, yeah, I want to go into this field, into being a doctor and all this right here. And I says, well, yeah, I said, you got a lot of education, 8 years more like that. I said, oh, that many? And, well, needless to say, she's not in that field yet. But what's some advice you would give someone that wants to go and really dedicated wanting to go into this field?
I would say go take a good, hard look at the field, at what you want to be. Do you want to go past being a nurse? Do you want to go be a nurse practitioner? Do you want to be a physician assistant? Or do you want to go and continue to go to medical school? Take a good look at what's around you and what's involved and what it's going to take from you. And do you have that commitment? You just can't say, oh, I want to do this, and then you start into, well, I didn't think it was this. I thought it was something else. Go in, take a look at it. And there's a lot of them out here that if you go to them and say, well, do you mind if I come in and watch? Or can I see this and can I see that? A lot of places will let you do that. And they'll come in and says, okay, but there's limits to that. But they'll let you come in and get an idea of what this is. And, I don't know how many of you watch Jeopardy and stuff like that on TV, because I know in nursing school, the way they would quiz us and test us, they would give us the answer, but I had to give the question.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And, that's hard. It's not as easy as you think, but it did make you remember it a lot better. And, I highly suggest that you go take a look at the field. Try to get in there and take a peek. It's not for everyone. I've had people come in that I've had with me, and I take them to a trauma or something, or they had to crack the person's chest open and doing heart massage. Next thing I know, I got somebody laying in the floor, as white as this sheet right here. And then they determined this is not for me.
Right.
That's fine.
Now, would you suggest, I know a lot, because I heard some of them say, this particular ones that I wanted to go, and they go watch some YouTube videos, and it's not the same, is it?
No.
Because they think that they look at that video, oh, yeah, I can do that, but they take out of context what you're actually seeing with your eyes besides the video, the smell, it's all kind of things going on, the trauma around it. Now, going into your school, there's a lot of homework, a lot of studying, correct?
Oh yeah, it's quite a bit, and and it's depending on your background, what you know, various things can help you learn things. I say, for example, your heart, and let's say that you are a male and you work on cars. Now think about a carburetor on a car. Carburetor is about working the same principle as what your heart is. It gives you fuel. It sends it throughout the motor. Your heart sends it throughout to your body. So as you're studying, and if you know about a carburetor and you get to heart, you can kind of put the two together, and next thing you know, oh, I understand how it works now. And it's pretty good that you can relate certain things about the body and how it works in relation to other things. Now, in school, you got homework on top of homework. You got care plans to write, and you got tests to study for, and it sometimes can put a lot of pressure on you. But that pressure is good because you're going to understand it later. And I know with us, when we went through nursing school, after I finished, it was nothing for me to have a house full of nursing students, and I had to question them. And, you know, I said, well, shoot, fair. I thought I done went through school. But you know, I don't regret that. And, you know, and like I say, between me and my wife, we both helped each other, you know, with studying and helping with paperwork and looking at this. And so overall, I said we done pretty good when we worked as a team. And if you go in the hospital and work, team is a key thing. Like in the emergency room, those people work as a team. If you see a gold come in, somebody been shot, stabbed, or a bad car wreck, you got all those people working in there as a team. It's not an individual, it's a team.
And they don't need to take some of these doctor movies in Hollywood. It's not the same. You don't have a one-person hero. You have a team. Now, what was some of the stuff in anatomy that you had to do? What do you have to do in there?
Anatomy, or anatomy and physiology.
Well, enlighten on both.
Okay. Well, the anatomy part of it's good because even now, and I drive myself crazy with it, is that with the anatomy, I observe people. Mm-hmm. I noticed if you walk with a limp, or if you got something wrong with your arm, or you got a hump back on your, you know, you got a hump back here on your shoulder. That tells me something about you, and it just drives me crazy, but still yet, you know, I do it. And people would, and you can help your family members, because if you notice various things, you know, like I was talking about with, you know, my dad, is I didn't know he had lost all that weight. I didn't notice the fruity smell from his breath. I didn't notice him getting up in the middle of the night and eating a whole chocolate pie.
Right.
I didn't notice any of that.
Talk about the fruity smell. We've talked about smells before, earlier. Is that part of a diabetic, or is that something that's triggering there that gives you a warning?
Well, it's part of a diabetic. It's what they produce, and it gives you a fruity smell. I was at one of the civic centers out there, and there was a guy standing there, and I could smell the fruity smell. And so I approached him and asked him if he was a diabetic, and he said yes. So I had him, I said, you need to check your blood sugar. He did. He went home. So, wow. You know, but it's just things you observe. And same thing with women. All right, don't hold it against me. You know, their time of the month.
Menstrual cycle, yes.
All right. Their breath changes based on the hormones that the body has released. And I know with me, if I went up to talk to one of the female nurses and I smelled it, I had to be nice to her, you know? But it's different things that the body does that the average person doesn't really pay any attention to. But you, as a nurse, and if you're around family or around friends, you pick up these things. And it helps them, and you know.
Well, and that's part of your training. I mean, I guess maybe your self-training, because you got book training, you got that you look at some experience like that, but you got to, if you really want to get into it, you got to go beyond that, right?
Yeah, you got to have the hands-on. You know, get in there and get with it. And like I say, when you're not working, you're working as a team.
Right.
And each one of them, you feed off the other and say, okay, what do you think about this, or what about this? And you get your heads together, and you come up with an answer. And like say, like the doctor's shows and everything on TV, yeah, great. You know, they're getting paid to do that a lot more than you're getting paid as a nurse. But it's interesting to watch and listen, and what you'll learn and what you pick up. Because I know, you know, some of the people I've met and come in contact with, and I'd say, you know, I'd see something and I'd mention it, whatever. Well, they would come back later and thank me because they went and had it checked and found out that there was an issue. And, you know, and with me, I'm a Vietnam vet in the combat. And the thing of it is this is a way for me to give back after being in combat.
Well, you know, and I've been around other nurses and some of our members of church nurse, and it's part of their training, especially been a nurse in a good while, that they start recognizing certain symptoms, certain things. We all eat out in restaurants. We know I had to do a Howlet mover on one guy in the middle because I know what choking was like, what he was doing, and that's just a little minor smidget. But going beyond that and being a people watcher is even better. And we're going to come back in just a minute right after this commercial here, and we're going to talk about some of the emergency room stuff. We'll be right back.
Here at Auto Detailing, we have a variety of packages ranging from a full outside detail to full inside, in and out. We're a complete 100% hand wash only dealer. We do everything from your wheels, windows, and engine bays. On all cars, from small cars, SUVs, and trucks. We have multiple packages ranging from $35 to $200 for that brand new car feel. We also have seat cleaning, steam cleaning, and more to take your car to the next level. We make sure every car leaving our location lives up to our 5-star rating. We strive to make every customer happy at Cooper's Auto Detailing.
You'll feel great driving a clean car. Your car will love you for taking care of it. Let our detailing experts restore and protect your car. Your ride will look great for years to come, and you'll be protecting your investment.
All right, we're back, and we're talking to Bobby McKee. He's a retired nurse, emergency room nurse at that. Bobby, what is the difference between, I guess, the jobs of being an emergency room nurse versus just being a nurse on one of the floors in the hospital to maybe even in the doctor's office?
Well, the difference is what it is that you like doing or doing. But in general, all nurses are team workers, team members, regardless if you're in a doctor's office, if you're in a clinic, if you're in the ER, if you're working in an ICU, all have their own thing. Now, the only thing I can say about the ER is that you went from pediatric to geriatric. You've had a wide span. Now, you get to the floors like an adult ICU, you're dealing with strictly adults. If you go to peds, you're dealing with peds. If you go to OB, it's all pregnancy. So it depends on what you like and what your hits. You know, like if you like doing babies, NICU, PICU, pediatric floor, they all, you know, present you with what you want to learn. And each one presents with its own problems and own issues. But the good thing of it is, in every floor that I have been to, all the nurses work together. And I keep making that point, is that they work as a team. And, you know, when you're doing, with me, I was lucky that I got to do pediatrics to geriatrics, is because I got to see that wider span. And, you know, and like with doing in the ER, we had a kid down there that was getting stitches. Well, what does kids do when they're, at a certain age when they start losing their teeth.
Right.
They pull a teeth, you got to put it under the pillow so the tooth fairy comes by. Well, kids, when they get sewed up, they're upset and traumatized, okay? But how many people know about the stitch fairy? Because they got to come back and get the stitches taken out. That upsets them. So if you explain to them about the stitch fairy, that when they get the stitches taken out, you put them in a plastic bag, put it under the pillow. And strangely enough, they actually would calm down a little bit because they got thinking, said, I'm gonna get some cash here. But it's just various things that you can do that makes it easier on the patient, easier on the staff, and everybody's happy to a point. You can't be total, but.
And some of your training that you've had to do, being an emergency room nurse, is that you talk about geriatrics on up to children, babies. You've got to really have a little bit of knowledge of each one of those. Now, what type of training or specialized training did you had to go back and do, or to get into all of those different?
Well, you had to go back like in the ER you work down there, you got to have BLS, ACLS, PALS. You got to have, this is advanced things if something was to go by and the patient was crashing. Now, the other things you get in there is the hospitals themselves offered classes just for those areas to help shore the staff up, make sure that each one know that. So when they got in there, like with pediatrics, get in there, like something as simple as doing a diaper change or giving them a bottle. Because some of the people working there had never been around babies. So, simple thing is, doing a diaper change, and what is that?
All right, we got a caller. Who's gonna?
Tina Johnson.
Hi, Tina. Hold on just a second. Can you hear?
To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hold on a second. Let me do a couple little buttons here. Hey, Tina, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, can you hear her, Bobby?
Yeah.
Okay. You got a question, Tina? Go ahead.
I do.
Hold on a second. Let me switch. Let me do another switch over here.
Yes. My question is, if you...
There we go. Okay, go ahead. Go continue.
If you, how do you prepare yourself in your training for, like,
How do you
prepare yourself for, like, a family member that may come in that may be in a trauma?
Okay, repeat that one more time, Tina, because it's kind of breaking up a little bit.
I guess what I'm saying is for your training.
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay. What I'm saying is for your training, when you're training, do they teach you how to handle a trauma of a family member that may come in with a serious trauma?
Well, yes, they do, and plus top of that, that's one of the things. Like me and my wife, when we was running rescue EMS, we would have that same thing to deal with. So it would just carry over when we done our nursing. Is that we know what it would be like on site when it happened, and so now when we're nurses, we know what that's like, and we know how to present that to them. We try to be just as open and honest as possible, and offer as much support as we can to them, and let them have an idea of kind of what's going on, what's happening, and where we're looking at going with this.
Did that get your question, Tina?
Where we're looking at going with this.
Tina?
Did that get your question, Tina?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling, Tina. Thank you. All right. Okay, there's a caller that came in there. Was she asked a question to Bobby in case you didn't get it, about a family member coming in and how you, able to, I guess, to take care of that family member that comes in, that, how's that affect you, or do you just immediately go into your training and into your,
Well, if a trauma or a bad situation comes in, we realize that, and we realize that there's family involved. But I can tell you now, the number one priority is the patient. We got to take care of the patient first, but we're not going to forget the family. We're going to make them part of that, and I kind of let them know what's going on, keep them up to date, and say, okay, this is where we're at, this is what we're doing, and ask them if they have any questions. You know, we don't just leave you hanging without keeping you up to date and informed as to what's going on.
okay? Have you ever had to experience, Bobby, a family member, cousin, whether it be brothers, sisters, whatever like that, that would come in that into the emergency room and they're in front of you? Have you ever had to experience that?
What do you mean by being in front of me?
Well, as you work in the emergency room, you didn't know that patient was coming in was actually some kin to you.
Oh, okay. Normally with that, if it's a close kin to mine that comes in, I back away from it and let the other nursing staff take care of it. Because you got to think, is your judgment and your thinking going to be where it should be at, you know, if this was not your relative that you was dealing with? So best to let the other nurses take care of it, and they'll keep you informed and up to date. But sometimes you get in there and you start letting your emotions make your decisions, making your judgment calls and this and that, and that's not good.
Yeah, I can see where it could affect it.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. How about telling people what is an emergency to the emergency room? A lot of people use it as a doctor's office.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about what is an emergency and what is not?
Well, that's what you have a triage nurse for. She will triage that patient, and based on vital signs and what the patient's telling her subjectively and objectively, she makes that determination, is this something that needs immediate attention, or is this something that can sit and wait, like in the doctor's office, have a seat, we'll give you a call. But the triage nurse takes care of that. And if you come in on an ambulance, you're going to be met by staff. They're going to talk to the EMS people to get an idea, are you critical enough or something that you need to be seen immediately and brought back, or is this something that we can send you out to the waiting room, like a doctor's office, and you can wait your turn? And, that happens because we've seen it more than once that patients say, well, I'm going to go to the emergency room, I'll call 911. That way I get taken straight back ahead of everybody else, and somebody else sitting out there might be worse.
So it's when people do that, doesn't that kind of put others that's really in needs medical attention quickly? Does that put them in jeopardy?
Well, it's still the triage nurse is going to determine who's the most critical, who needs to go when, where, and how. Right. They round out all the time, so if something was to change with that patient that's out there, if something was to change their vitals, their heart rate, their breathing, they can come up and it will be reevaluated to see if they need to go back then. And the triage nurse has a lot of responsibility. They make that determination, and it's based on their assessment of the patient, their vital signs, history, and and it's sad. Like I say, we have a lot of several people comes in that I'm just going to the emergency room and that's it, and I don't have a doctor. I'm just going to use the emergency room as a doctor.
Right.
And sometimes that can backlog and stall or back up some people that need to be seen more often.
Do they do it, say, for instance, if they don't have insurance? Because I've heard that before where, well, I don't have insurance, I just go to the emergency room.
Yeah, they use that, but the thing about the insurance and all like that, like the hospitals I worked at, they are nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you have insurance or you don't have insurance, they're going to see you.
Okay.
Simple as that. Now, once you get in there, you know, they, of course, will ask you about your insurance and about your financial situation, and then that moves on to somebody else, which I'm glad I don't have to deal with. But some people actually do use that as an excuse to come in that way because they say, well, I can't go see a regular doctor because I don't have insurance, and they're not going to take me.
Right.
Now, that is some of their reason, and they have a rationale for it. But, you know, then again, you bog up the ER. So, you know, then anybody has to wait.
Well, have you ever had anyone that you know that's coming in and faking it? You got an example or story or of someone that just would do anything just to get back there or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you like the ones that you go out there and they're laying in the floor and, you know, they say, oh, this person passed out. No, they didn't. They fake it. And, you know, you see that. And usually when you see that, it's usually a person that is a regular.
Right.
That comes in and does it all the time. And, you know, and you just sit there and everybody else looking at you thinking, say, well, why ain't that nurse doing something? Why ain't y'all doing? This person's laying here passed out. No, they're faking. And, you know, and some of them are pretty good at it. And we had this one, actually it was a family, and I don't know if anybody knows these people or not, but we had a nickname. They was Cabbage Patch Family. It was the husband, the wife, and the mother. They were good. They actually could be on TV. They were that good. But now, sadly to say, they all have passed away. But there's not an emergency room or emergency room doctor or nurse in Roanoke Valley that did not know them.
Wow. So they could have been good actors instead of.
Oh, they were very good actors.
And I love this part. How can you tell if someone's passed out in the floor or not?
Well, if you'll take their arm and raise it above their head, above their face, and let go of it. Now, if they hit themselves in the face, they're passed out. If it comes back down and they do this and move their arm over, they're faking.
Oh, well, I thought that was pretty. We talked about it earlier, that because nobody don't want to get hit in the face by themselves, do they?
No, they don't. And you'll be surprised that, you know, you see that arm move. And a lot of times if we're training a new nurse or whatever, and we got one of our shows up all the time and doesn't need to be there, we will show them that to help train them, to let them know that, you know, part of assess if this patient is truly passed out or are they just pulling your leg. Because it's awful strange that when you put them in a wheelchair, put them on a stretcher, you take them back in the back, they sitting up in the bed and want to know if you could bring them a drink. So.
Now, there's a test about that can't walk thing too, isn't it?
Huh?
A test about that, about the person who couldn't walk in the wheelchair. You can do a little test to see if they could get up with the $5 bill.
Oh, yeah, that guy there. Yeah, he's one that we was discharging him, and he says, well, I can't walk. I can't get out of the bed. So, okay. So we took a $5 bill and laid it in the floor, went around the corner. And it's amazing. He jumped up, come over and got the $5 bill and stuck it in his pocket and got back in bed. So
A miracle happened. Didn't it?
oh, yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. We've got to do another commercial with the half hour, a little bit over a half hour. And we'll be right back. You're talking to Bobby McKee, who is a retired emergency room nurse and still kind of does some things even on the side with that. So we'll be right back.
Here at Auto Detailing, we have a variety of packages ranging from a full outside detail to full inside, in and out. We're a complete 100% hand wash only dealer. We do everything from your wheels, windows, and engine bays on all cars, from small cars, SUVs, and trucks. We have multiple packages ranging from $35 to $200 for that brand new car feel. We also have seat cleaning, steam cleaning, and more to take your car to the next level. We make sure every car leaving our location lives up to our 5-star rating. We strive to make every customer happy at Cooper's Auto Detailing.
You'll feel great driving a clean car. Your car will love you for taking care of it. Let our detailing experts restore and protect your car. Your ride will look great for years to come, and you'll be protecting your investment.
All right, we're back. And Bobby, how long have you been in nursing? We didn't get into that part.
35 years.
Well, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And seen a little bit of everything. I can imagine that comes through. People don't realize how hard it is, even from the ones that want to get into nursing. It's not a job that you think that's going to just, people going to lift you up on the shoulders and carry you out, and think you're just some type of hero. Now, when you're out and about, walking, going to stores, stuff like that, do you get a lot of advice, or not advice, do you get a lot of questions?
Yeah, if they know who you are, whatever like that, they will ask you a lot of questions. And, one of the things, I'm going to bring it up, is that you had asked something about how to keep people healthy. Mm-hmm. All right. One of the things is, and I'm just as bad as it myself, is a lot of people will comment that they haven't been to their doctor in several years. Said, I ain't needed to go. I'm not sick. But the thing of it is, you need to go be checked, just a routine check or whatever, because how many things you would have that you're not seeing, you're not getting the signs and symptoms of, but it's there, but you want to catch it early. For example, breast cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer, diabetes. If you wait and you say, oh, I need to go wait several years, and you say, well, I want to go see a doctor now, it's going to be harder if you can, reverse the process. And so I encourage people that go see your doctor, routine checks to make sure that you're fine. Because what you do if you wait and say, oh, well, all of a sudden I've got this chest pain, or I've got this pain in the groin area, it could be that it's advanced so far that there might not be a recovery time to it. So I would suggest to do that. So catch it early, take care of it, not wait late, and you're out of luck.
Well, I know a lot of young people don't realize that they need a checkup. They need to have a checkup done.
Yeah.
Because I hear it all the time that, well, I feel good, I feel healthy. And what is the age kind of group, if you can kind of put it together, that how many times a year does a person need to really have a checkup? I know as we get older, we go about every quarter just to have a checkup, make sure everything's going okay, because we are getting older and our body changes quickly.
Yeah, as far as the age groups go, you need to look at your family history. If you have a family history of diabetes, yes, I would encourage you to probably maybe go a little bit more frequently. Same way with breast cancer, colon cancer, prostate. If you have a family history tells a lot. And actually, when you go, some of the doctors, they'll ask you, do you have a family history of this?
Right.
And, that's something they're looking at and something that they need to watch you for. But if you get in there and say, well, I feel good, I ain't seen a doctor in 10 years. Okay, that's good. You felt good and everything. But what happens at the end of that 10 years, all of a sudden you start feeling, really bad, and you find out that you do have something that is a family history of.
That might could have been taken care of without getting it to a point to where you have to now take medication for it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, get on it fast, get it resolved, because, I know we've recently had some friends that's had like breast cancer that has spread, and sad to say that, it wasn't good. And the thing of it is, they have a family history that I don't know how often they got checked, when they got checked. I don't know any of that, but I just know that that is an important factor. With a family history of some of this stuff, you need to have frequent checks, not wait till you have symptoms.
Is there any type of diets and foods that you kind of either recommend, or some of the food groups, or even food itself, that's more healthier and works in different ways? Because you hear so much about, well, you eat this food, and they say, well, wait a minute, that food's bad for you. Well, we got to eat this group of food.
Yeah.
What are some diets, and some diets are really bad for you?
Yeah, to pick a specific food group or whatever like that, I couldn't do it. I do mine based on my individual thing, because, for example, if you're taking warfarin, a blood thinner, the one thing you got to watch there is you can't eat greens because it affects the medicine. And the other thing is that some of the other medicines affected by grapefruit. It will affect your medicine. So you have to take all that into consideration. And same way if you're a diabetic, of course you don't want to go eating sweets, but you also don't want to put yourself into ketoacidosis, which can be life-threatening. And, it will throw your whole sugar off.
Is that like the keto diet or something?
Well,
Or is it something different?
Well, now what it does with a keto diet is that it does put you in a somewhat state of ketoacidosis. But the acidosis, when you do your blood, is 7.35 to 7.45. Well, what you're doing is you're going towards the acid end of it, which is going to the left. You're dropping below 7.35. And, people get into that when they're doing even some of the medication that they're giving a patient for diabetes, is you have to watch and not go into ketoacidosis. It can be life-threatening. And same way with, like I say, some of the foods you eat, they can do the same thing based on your medication, your diet, and what you're trying to do. If you're doing it just to lose weight so that you can get your blood pressure down and stuff like that, you're a little bit more open. But now if you've got diabetes or something else, you need to watch what you eat and if that food will affect your medication. And I was kind of surprised on some of that stuff.
Well, I know some of the diabetic medicine and shots people are taking for losing weight instead of managing diabetes.
Yeah.
Could that be a problem for them in doing that? Could that bring their sugar, if they didn't have, not a diabetic, but couldn't that bring their sugar down to be an issue with them?
Yeah, it can affect them, and the thing of it is, you got to look at is what's the long-term effect of some of this, because you take diabetes, it can be kind of funny. It's you could be going along, just, oh, I feel great out of this and that and the other, and your blood sugar could be in the toilet, be low. Or you can, it can be high and you should feel just great. So you still need to keep a check on it. And like I say, the food you eat, some of them is going to be good for you, some of them is going to be bad. And the ones that's going to be, you have to really watch is the ones that affects the medication you're taking to treat that. And like I say, like with the warfarin, the blood thinner, you can't eat, especially anything that had vitamin K will affect it. So here you are, you taking this, thinking, so okay, I'm not going to have a stroke, but here I am eating everything that's got vitamin K in it. It's offsetting this. so you're out of luck. So it's important when you go to diet is to do some research on it as to what you're shooting for, what your goal is. You know, is it to lose weight? Is it to control a condition like diabetes? Or is it to help control high blood pressure? I'm going to go on a low sodium diet. So you need to research and find out what it is you're doing, why you're doing it, and what you need to watch out for.
So really what people need to do is ask questions, because a lot of people, and I'm the same way. The doctor said, okay, I'm going to give you this medication here. Okay. And I'm going out. I really don't research it. I just take what he's saying, okay, take this, I'm going to take it, and not really know any type of side effects or what I can't eat to go with it, or be out in the sun. And I know some medications do that. So would you say question your doctor or the nurse, ask questions?
Yeah, either that or the pharmacist. You know, you can ask your pharmacist. And like I say, it's different things, like say being out in the sun. You know, some medication you take, being out in the sun is not a good idea unless you want to get burnt, you know. Mm-hmm. And the same way with diabetic medications. Some of the medications that's out there will not work well with some of the foods you eat, even though it's part of a diet that you're doing to help lose weight and lower your sugar. And a lot of people say, well, I'm going to go on a diet to lose weight. And they said, that'll take care of my sugar. That's not necessarily true. You need to set your plan up for the whole thing and not just go with one area and leaving the other area unattended to. And, you know, you get like the people taking warfarin and they eating vitamin K. Well, what happens when, you know, they do that and it comes up, they have a stroke? You know, then you got a whole different ball game, a whole different process that you got to go through with. And same way with diabetes. You know, if you take like, you know, metformin and some of the other ones they got out there, you know, they say, oh, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to take this. Well, you're getting the medication for your sugar. You're not getting it for a weight loss. That weight loss thing is kind of I like to say it's a side effect.
Right.
But, you know, if you're taking it and you're ignoring the whole thing, you're only getting half of what you asked for.
So if you're taking it, looking at it as a weight loss thing, you can be losing vitamins and different important things in your diet because you're not wanting to eat and just eat a little bit here or there and just different things. So that can have a different effect than what you're taking the medication for.
Oh, yeah. And if you'll go on the internet, Facebook, all these things, it's thousands of things out there telling you, well, if you take this will do this for your blood sugar. Or if you take this will do this for your blood sugar. It's lots of stuff out there. But the thing of it is, you need to research what it says. They're selling you a product.
Right.
Yeah, if it works or not, if it does, fine. If it don't, fine, I got your money. Look at it, research it, that fits you, not their pocketbook. It's, you know.
Right. So what they really just need to do is ask their doctor or the pharmacist, and especially first of the year, everybody gets on a diet. All the memberships from these exercise clubs and all this right here, I mean, it's flourish, and by 30 days they go away. Now, not all people thinks about exercise, and we talked about this earlier too, where you and Susie walks 30 minutes a day, and with a vigorous walk, but you walk, versus someone saying, well, I'm at work and I walk over here and here, but it's not a consistent one.
Right.
So you really got to, someone's going to take and wants to do some exercise for health. Who would they most likely need to contact or talk about these regimens?
Well, physical therapist would be one good person I would zero in, the different exercises, the things you can do to do your arms, your legs. It depends on what you got that you need work with. Some people have back problems. There's different things they could do that to help support their back. The walking, we walk, like me and my wife, we walk twice a day, 30 minutes at a crack. I let her do her walk and I do mine. She gets in my way. But
Walk faster.
well, actually, she was walking faster. So, but the exercises that you do should be based on which your goal is and what you're shooting for. Exercise, yes, it'll keep you active. If you sit around and don't do nothing and this, and that, and the other, you're going to go downhill. As simple as that.
That's what happens a lot of times when people get older and retire. When they stop moving, you stop motion, you're stopping your body.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people like that, and they sit in their lounge chair and this, and that, and the other, and they say, "Well, I get up, I walk to the kitchen, I go to the bathroom, and this, that, and the other." That's little small stints that they're walking. It's not doing anything to get those muscles working and keeping them going, and keeps them breathing. You're going to increase your breaths, you're going to increase your muscles, and you're going to build your muscles. You're not going to be just sitting there being a lounge lizard, and that's basically what you're going to be. But I've seen a lot of people that got out and started doing exercise, and I mean, it's 100% turnaround time. I just couldn't believe it. I see them, and I said, they were starting to look their age and this and that and the other. Next thing you know, they're exercising and doing some things that, like their diet and all like that. And you'll be surprised next time you see them, what in the heck are they doing? It looks so much better. And, and vice versa. The person going the other direction, you see them, they say, boy, they sure have aged.
Right.
And, so that right there will show you the difference between the two. Now, which one do you want to be? You want to be a couch potato, or do you want to be out here strutting up and down the road and making your neighbors look bad?
There you go. And what about these people that uses the internet as their doctor? Now I hear that and see it a lot where people say, well, I went on the internet and it said this symptom here, and this is how I got the symptoms here. To me, they're using that instead of actually getting some medical advice from an actual doctor and staff.
A lot of times I've seen people do that, and they've got themselves in trouble. Because if they will go they'll read the one article and it says this. They go to another one and they read it and it says something different. Well, that should tell them something. So why is it different? They both are asking, or you ask the same thing, but they're both giving you two different answers. And then you got to look at it as are they trying to sell you something? And some of that stuff on there is just outrageous of what they're trying to sell you or they want you to do or whatever. And like I say, they don't care. They're real for they're watching for. But when you read some of these articles, they got, now some of them are real good, but know what you're reading, know what you're trying to do. And like I say, read some. If they're all saying the same thing, then it must be something going on. Might be some truth to it. But if you got one that says this, another one says this, another one says this, and then you got the one down there at the bottom that says, you take this, we just saved you. Put a red flag on that one. But look at what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and see if all of them are saying the same thing. That's what you got to watch for.
What about home remedies? We hear that a lot. So my grandmother did this, or my grandpa put this on here, and it was like a miracle salve that it cured the mange on the dog.
Yeah. Actually, I got several books on home remedy, and and some of the things that they used, and actually some of the things that they used then, they're actually using now in different medicines and stuff like that. So, and you get like ginseng. Now, you can go out here and buy ginseng, pills, capsules, and it's supposed to be doing all this stuff. And you can go out here and dig it. And I think it's about, last time I heard it was about $400 a pound.
Wow.
Now, that's dry weight.
Yeah.
But how many people know how to hunt ginseng?
And what it looks like.
Yeah, and what it looks like. But there's a lot of stuff out there that they have that homeopathic approach on a lot of stuff. But some of the home remedies they use, there was some validity and validation to what they were doing. But then again, there was some on there that said, no, you might not want to touch yet. But it's real interesting to read and some of the treatments that they did, and even from some of the foreign countries, like Japan. I'll read some of the stuff there, and one of the things they had was how to lower your blood pressure. It said take a deep breath through your nose and blow out through your mouth. Do that several times. Well, I said, okay, that's Japan. This is what they do on how to treat high blood pressure to bring it down. Well, now I see on the internet, you can get a machine that you can breathe in. It does the same thing. You breathe into it and you blow it out. It's the same thing. It's the only thing that is, they just sold you a piece of equipment.
Piece of equipment.
That you sat there and done yourself. Because I laughed when I seen it and I says, I know that one. But, it's interesting when you look around what other countries do. I like to do a little reading on that.
Right.
And like with the home remedies, like I say, there's all kinds of books out on that, and I like reading them. Some of them have some validity, and some of them are not.
Right. And you got to know what you're going to be out there hunting for too, if it's especially out in the wild.
Oh yeah. You gotta know what you're doing, what you're hunting for, and stuff like that. Like what they used to put, like if you got I don't know how many people's had chiggers. You had chiggers?
Yeah, I've had them. Yep.
All right,
Blackberry picking. You're going to get them.
Yeah, and they will itch you and just drive you nuts. Now, what do you put on it? What do you treat them with?
I just let it go, I guess.
No. Old school, they said get clear fingernail polish and put it on the bite. Mm-hmm. Supposedly, when it bit you, it left an egg in there, and that's developing, and the fingernail polish, clear fingernail polish, will smother it. That's back the old way. Now, you can go to the drugstore and you can buy chicories, which has got benzocaine in it, which is a numbing, so that you won't scratch and irritate it and make it worse. But, the old versus new, clear fingernail polish.
Kind of the same thing. Isn't it?
And believe me, I've done the clear fingernail polish before.
And it worked?
Well, yeah, it did for me, but but also the chicories, which has it's a cream that's got benzocaine in it, which benzocaine is a numbing agent. It numbed the thing so I wouldn't scratch, so I wouldn't irritate it and run the possibility of getting infection. So, there's all kinds of things that you can look at, versus old school versus new. But some of the old school stuff, like you might want to really kind of watch what you do, because, get, just like if you want to get old school and you got little aches and pains and this and that and the other, you can always get a little drink of moonshine, and that would kind of chill you out. But they say, no, you're not supposed to do that. But,
Well, and even with home remedies, you've got to watch, because if you're taking other medication, right?
Correct.
And so you really, the bottom line is read, get some advice. And your doctor can tell you, or your pharmacist, especially when it just comes to mixing things like that.
Yeah, it's it's pretty open like that, but you need to ask questions if you don't know, or do some research on it. Even if you research it and you still have some questions on it, ask.
That's the key thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Well, okay. Well, Bobby, we're at the top of the hour, and about pretty quickly. And I appreciate you doing this right here because it's very informative because I learned a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of stuff out there to, go over. But the biggest thing of it is it's, see a doctor on a regular basis to make sure that you're staying on track with your body and your body staying healthy. And ask questions. Don't be bashful. Ask. And if you come to my door and knock on the door and say, I got a question, I'm going to invite you in and we'll talk about it.
Over the moonshine.
Yeah. By the way, it's apple pie with caramel.
All right. All right. Well, Bobby, I appreciate it. And thank everyone for listening. And stay tuned for next week. We'll have another guest on, and you'll find out who that will be very soon. Have a good night.